name is Joseph Patterson. Welcome to One Jamaica TV. This is the place of choice for all who love this country and want to see the nation succeed.
Today, how is everyone doing today? Thank you all for tuning in. It is going to be a good one today. We have with us a very special guest that is going to be speaking with us about issues as it relates to our country, Jamaica. Right? And this is one that every person needs to be a part of. Every single person needs to be a part of this conversation right here. All right? Now, with us is the leader of the UIC, right? And I'm going to allow him to break down that for us and tell us what exactly the UIC means when he gets on screen. So we're going to invite the guest to our stream right now, and here he is, Mr. Patterson. How are you doing?
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for having me on this show. You were cracking up a bit, so I'm not sure what you said, but I think you asked me to introduce myself. Am I correct?
Sure, go right ahead. Just let everyone know who Joseph L. Patterson is.
In general, I'm an ordinary Jamaican like everybody else. I was born in Jamaica, 1971. In Kingston, downtown Kingston to be exact, in a pretty rough area, what we'd call an inner city community, to a single mother of three. Four of us live in a one-room, house. Went through all the process of poverty, managed to, pull myself up from the bootstraps. And even though I failed common entrance, 2 times and technical entrance, I still managed to make it to stats via Spanish Town Secondary, became head boy of both institutions, and president for student council and key club and debating society and quiz team and all of that. And then was able to secure a full scholarship to go to UTech to study engineering, after which I worked as a teacher of engineering, science, mathematics, and physics at Kingston Technical. Having completed that, I got a job with the Jamaica Sugar Company as an engineer. And then I got married to my high school sweetheart, who I met in the 8th grade, and migrated to Canada, where I spent the next several years. And there became a CPA, a chartered professional accountant, built a couple of businesses, sold a few, and rose to director of finance in the government and in the private sector, CEO, CFO. And then came back to Jamaica 10 years ago. Bought some farm property, started farming. You might see the B Suite Jamaica label, that's ours. And getting involved in the Jamaican community again and understanding the plight of the people, the challenges of the country, and recognizing that the 2 major parties have really failed us. After 77 years now, they have not really improved the key indicators of any great country, and Jamaica is a great country with lots of potential. So I formed the UIC we had a launch in 2015 December, and from there on we went through the battle of eventually dealing with the Electoral Commission of Jamaica, a partisan body that tries to prevent small parties from existing. We battled them and won after 10 months of intense fights with them, and so we became Jamaica's 3rd officially registered party on December 7th, 2019. And here we are today after that.
Wonderful. So before the UIC, you were never aligned with politics at all?
No, I was never aligned. When I was a child, my mother, she was quite an activist in the PNP, so she was really very active in the PNP. So I grew up seeing what happens in politics, especially from the standpoint of a poor woman, single mother, being involved in that. She carried me everywhere. So I went to the women's movement stuff. I went to the arenas. You might see an old picture of Michael Manley, and you'll see me in his arm in that picture. It became pretty famous at the time on brochures and stuff. I mean, I didn't understand any of what was going on, but I paid attention. So from 7 years old, I was, seeing a lot of politics, seeing what happened. And when I got to about 17, about to turn 18, my mom was, getting ready for me to vote PNP. And I said, no, mommy, I can't do that. She says, why? I said, well, all I see is division. They've divided our people and have us fighting each other. And to me, that doesn't make any sense. We need something better than this. And so I chose not to vote PNP or GLP and not to join either. We had moved to a place called Seaview Gardens, and there I championed the rights of the people. We fought for proper sewage system because it was, causing a lot of health issues for the people with the backing up of the sewage and all of that. So I fought for that. They didn't have any telephones, so they couldn't call the police or whatever. So I fought for them to get telephones. I also started police youth clubs and merged the two. That is left and right, JLP, PNP, bottom side, top side. So I brought the two sides together through the youths within, youth movements, and got them to see each other as just human beings. We don't need to be PNP or JLP. We don't need to be green or orange. We just need to be Jamaicans, and we need to fight for the issues that affects all of us, whether it's education, healthcare, housing, water, sanitation, economic development, you name it. We're all Jamaicans, and we mustn't take our eyes off the ball and fight each other. We need to fight for good governance.
Great. Now, I've seen where persons are trying to associate you with the former Prime Minister. Are you affiliated in any way, blood or any relationship with the former Prime Minister Percival James Patterson? Are you in any way affiliated with him?
If I am in any way affiliated with him, it's something I don't know about. So I've never met the man. We've never had a conversation. I'm not aware of us being relatives, even though, when you have the same name for anybody, people make association. But I don't know, and I've never had any relations with him to be able to determine that. And I've not had any confirmation that we're related, but I wouldn't be surprised. So the bottom line is we're all brothers and sisters, and we need to stop this thing where we seek to tear down each other because we, of whatever. If PJ Patterson and I are related, so what? What's more important is what we stand for. Right. He stands for a system that's very different from what I stand for. I stand for a system that will unite Jamaicans and bring out the best in all of us. He stood for a system that divided Jamaicans and gave politicians an opportunity to rip us off.
Right. All right. Now, the questions that I will be putting forward to you today, Mr. Patterson, is coming from the people. I have a few of my own, but the majority of the questions that I'll be asking you will be coming from the people, and you want to actually speak to the people and give the people the answers that they deserve and need, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Now, one of the very first questions that I'm going to ask you, and I'm quite sure all the viewers here listening today is inching to hear you answer this question. We've seen politicians over the years go, come, parties being rotated left, right, on and off, and each politician come in, gives a promise, and they say, when I am elected, this is what I will do. When I am elected, I will change this. When I am elected, I will fix this. What can you say to the Jamaican people right now listening that will make them say, sounds like I will definitely go the UIC way this election? What can you say that will change a person's mind to vote UIC? Because you know that you not just making a dead promise, but your promise will actually carry through once you get in.
Well, I mean, all anyone has to do is to look at the UIC's manifesto, and you'll see that we're very, very different from any political party that has ever existed. First of all, we're a movement. We only became a political party because the system that we have requires that. Let's remember that we're under a system of colonialism. Colonialism has never left Jamaica. The powers that be gave us the constitution we have. In fact, they forced on us the constitution that we had. And the leaders we had back then did not have the foresight or the vision to this day to rip up that constitution and give Jamaicans a constitution that's written by Jamaicans, for the betterment of all Jamaicans. That is what the UIC is promising. We're going to give Jamaica, for the first time ever in the history of the Jamaican people, and for a very long time, if ever, in the history of the Africans around the world, to have a system of governance that fully and truly protects their individual liberty, protecting their rights to life, liberty, and property against even the government, right? So we want to give Jamaicans a constitution that is built on the foundation of good governance that will ensure that it doesn't matter who they elect in the future, their individual rights will always be protected. If we had such a constitution today, Andrew Holness would not be able to do what he's doing because it would have stopped him. It would have recognized, it would have forced him to recognize that our bodily autonomy cannot be violated even by the government. And that is actually the role of government, to protect our bodily autonomy, to protect our individual right to life, liberty, and property. So instead of him trying to force us into this, he would have been creating an environment which is safe, which is clean, which is orderly, an environment where we can actually live, earn, and retire with dignity. Instead, crime is going up tremendously. The economy has failed. He promised us that we were going to get 5% growth or in 4 years. Mm-hmm. Instead, we got nothing. He promised us that we'd be able to sleep with our doors and windows open. Instead, we want to shut them tighter and put on more grills. He promised us that he was going to fix the education system. Instead, we continue to have 70% or more of our students failing. He promised us a better healthcare system. Instead, you can see, not even with a few increases in debts, the healthcare system cannot stand. A basic, the very early stages of a problem, we crumble because we just are not prepared. And this is because for 77 years, the JLP and the PNP have wasted the time and resources of the Jamaican people. And instead of building a sound country, they have built a corrupt culture.
Very interesting. Very interesting. One of the other questions that I want to ask you is, do you think going into power, let's say the UIC should take office, the damages that has already been done, because I'm going to put it to you exactly how one of my viewers gave it to me. The person said, water we dash we can't get back in a cup, right? So I'm going to put it to you that way. Now, using that term, do you think that the damages that has already been done by the previous parties before the UIC can be repaired and bring back Jamaica to be a Jamaica where every single Jamaican can say, yes, I love my country because it is the way that I can remember it back when I was a child? Or, you understand? Do you think that that is possible for the damages to be repaired?
Absolutely. We're not a lost country. In 1965, Jamaica was stronger, better, richer than Singapore, even though we had the same GDP per capita of $550 per person. Jamaica had a bauxite industry that was strong, banana industry, coffee industry, sugar industry, a much more orderly environment compared to Singapore, a more homogeneous society compared to Singapore. Singapore had racial wars, religious wars. They live on a rock the size of St. Thomas, very relatively small country, but more people on it. Transient country. They don't have anything like the resources that we had. And because they focus on some key things, number one, they eliminated corruption. Lee Kuan Yew, their leader, focused on eliminating political corruption. That is a key plank in the UIC's philosophy, a key plank in our program and platform, is to eliminate political corruption at the top, first of all. Secondly, they focused on creating a safe environment, meaning people could live without burglar bars and operate their businesses without focusing so much on security as a big cost, but rather on the business itself. They also made a clean environment, a green environment, which was healthy and conducive for effective living and for happy living. And they made sure that public order was number one. If you put those four things together while investing in the human capital of the country, really putting your energy and your money and your thinking behind creating an education system that truly brings out the best in every citizen, you will have a first-class country. So Lee Kuan Yew and Singapore proved that in 25 years they were able to do that, hands down. We in Jamaica can do even better. We have far more resources. We're 14 times the size of Singapore in terms of landmass, even though we have less than 1/14th. They have 5 million people. We only have 3 million. So in other words, Jamaica can hold 90 million persons quite easily in this country. So what, 9 million people, sorry. So watch this. We have the resources already. It's just that it's concentrated in the hands of a few, the prime minister and this political elite and the wealthy people in Jamaica. They build a system that they control the wealth of Jamaica and strangle the people of Jamaica. If we can divest them of that strangulation by opening up the economy, removing the regulations and barriers to entry that are preventing small and medium enterprises from breaking out. If we can revitalize our education system so it actually focuses on people learning competencies rather than simply passing exams. If we can turn around our agricultural sector by freeing the sector up. For example, look what they've done with ganja. They claim they freed ganja, but what they did was to put regulations in that only the rich can own the industry and the poor can only work in the industry. So the UIC is going to undo that by allowing the poor to be able to own the industry. As long as they're willing to work hard to achieve, they'll be able to do so, but not have any artificial barriers to entry to prevent the small man from entering into any industry. So we're going to fix those basic things which are holding back Jamaicans and which are protecting big business and which are keeping politicians at the top. And why they do that is because big business fund the two parties. So the Jamaican people are currently not represented in politics. The only people who are represented in Jamaica's political system are big business and foreign masters. The UIC is going to change that by taking away that control big business and foreign masters have on our government and return that control through a new system to the hands of the people.
Very good, very good. And I'm liking where this conversation is going so far. I'm loving where the conversation is going so far. But for the persons in the comment section, right, and the viewers listening, you know, most persons would possibly say that will never happen because every politician is corrupt, and the minute they get in, they only want to grease their own pockets and line their own pockets, and they forget everything that they promised. What would you say to that person who says that every politician is corrupt and only wants to grab what they can grab once they're in office?
They're actually correct. Any politician that is elected under the current system of Jamaica and who are a member of the two colonial parties, that's what's going to happen to them. You see, the system is already set. The parties are a part of that system. It's their culture. So even if somebody means well and joins the PNP or joins the GLP and then the party wins power, naturally they're going to be a part of a corrupt gang, right? Those two parties are gangs. They're not just organizations. It's a cartel. It's a gang. And when you join it, you either participate in what it's about or you're going to get kicked out, okay? Which is why I never joined any one of them, and which is why I created the UIC. The UIC is going to be a unifying force. We're going to fix the problem, which is the division, distraction, and extraction by the small elite, right? So we have created a movement and a party which is now going to unite Jamaicans. We're going to bring JLP together. We're going to bring PNP together. We're going to bring independence. We're going to bring, vaccinate. We're going to bring on everybody, rich or poor, religious or irreligious, whatever you are. The UIC is about uniting Jamaica and liberating Jamaicans. Now, so you say, but I'm a politician. So how am I going to exempt myself? Look at our manifesto. The UIC, if I wanted simple power, I would have joined one of the other two because it's very easy. What I'm doing here is very difficult. It's everybody said it's even impossible. I mean, most Jamaicans will tell you, at least a few months ago, that it's impossible for a third party to win. I always knew that was a lie. I know why third parties didn't win in the past. Number one, big business fund the two parties, and small third parties just don't have the funding to compete against big business funding the JLP and the PNP. So what have I done? I've spent the last 7 years working in the gutters to bring Jamaicans to the place where they realize they need to own the party. The average Jamaicans must own the party. And so now all of our funding comes from small donations, $500 Jamaican, $1,000 Jamaican, $5,000 Jamaican, 10,000, 11,000. And on the US side, 10 US dollars, 15 US dollars, 25 US dollars. On the Canadian side, 20 Canadian, 25 Canadian, 50 Canadian. On the British side, 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 20 pounds, 100 pounds. That's what's coming in, and that is what is building this movement, this party. We are going to be owned by the people. And when you're owned by the people and not by foreign interest or big business, then you work for the people.
Now, you know, you have Jamaicans that are so seasoned in this one mind thinking. They are like, yo, a JLP me say, or a PMP me say, and I will never put another party in power. I'm quite sure you've heard that before, right? What can the UIC do that will pull that person over to the UIC?
Well, I must tell you, the JLP and the PNP are helping us a lot in that. Because they have failed the people for 77 years straight. This is serious enough. From 1944 until now, they have had a chance to get rid of the Queen, get rid of the Governor General, give us a better system of governance, fix our economy, fix our healthcare, fix our education, and they haven't done it. So for 77 years, they have just played with the Jamaican people. So because of that, if you notice the last 3 elections, first of all, 48% of Jamaicans did not vote. The next election, 52% of Jamaicans did not vote. The next election, 63% of Jamaicans did not vote. In fact, we have a government right now which is only supported by 21% of the electorate, which is just their base, right? Just their base. The other party lost because some of their base stayed home because they were so disgusted with their party. They stayed home. So it's only the base alone now that carries these two parties. And guess what's happening? That base is crumbling. The moment they realize the lie, the moment they realize the trick, the moment they realize that these two parties are simply relics of colonialism, that are continuing the principles of colonialism that oppresses and depresses and extracts the wealth of the nation and make a few rich and big up the foreign masters. The moment the people realize that, and Andrew Holness have synced that in now for the people, they realize, but this government now work for it. This government not care about it. All they care about is money. So whoever gives them the most money and say, do this to Jamaicans, they will do it to Jamaicans. They will literally lock up Jamaicans, lock down Jamaicans, kill Jamaicans, destroy Jamaicans' businesses, destroy the education of our children, cause teen pregnancies and child pregnancies to go through the roof. They will oppress you, suppress you, lock you down for days just to advance the cause of their foreign master, as long as it comes with $1 attached to it. So they don't care. So the people of Jamaica now realize that their government is their enemy. And with that, even the base is going to crumble. Even the base is going to join the UIC. So now the 63% that didn't vote for any of them is now paying attention and saying, the UIC is very different. And the small amount that voted for the two of them, that minority that voted for the two of them, is also now saying, I get it now. And they too are having second thoughts. So by the next election, whenever it is called, you're going to see a mass exodus, both those who were already not voting, registering now to vote, getting their voter IDs and saying, we're ready now. And those who used to support the two, you're going to see a breaking away of their base coming towards the UIC, not because the UIC is the Messiah, but because the UIC is honest, has integrity, and has a system. We're not promising people free things. We're not promising people pie in the sky. We're promising them a real new Jamaica with a new design, a new constitution that respects their rights, a new constitution that gets rid of their foreign masters and despicable governor general, a new constitution that gives them a president to be elected by them instead of a prime minister selected for them. They're going to now have a new Jamaica that's built on the foundation that every one of us are sovereign, and our country must protect our sovereignty and protect our collective sovereignty as a people.
All right. We've heard the speeches. We've heard where you talk about getting rid of the governor general and coming from under the queen and all of these things, right? By the way, tell us about that again before I get to the question.
Sure. I mean, first and foremost, you can't have an independent and free country with a foreigner as head of state. That's just nonsensical. And to think that the two older parties, the two colonial parties, continue that is clear indication that they don't care about us. When you have a foreigner as head of state, it diminishes your view of yourself. And by the way, there should never be a monarchy over anyone. So I see sometimes my friends in the African world who believe in Afrocentricity and so on, like myself, they get excited about the fact that in the past, Africans used to have kings and queens. We don't need kings and queens. We need to tell ourselves and teach ourselves that we're all equal. That's why I don't want to be called no honorable and most honorable. Those are despicable titles that separates us and tell us that some human beings are better than others. So I want to get rid of all of that. What we want is a Jamaica where we now elect, first of all, a republic. So the UIC is going to create a non-partisan constitutional republic. What does that mean? Our system will no longer be partisan. The purpose of partisan governance is to divide the people, distract the people so that a few can extract the wealth of the people. So we're going to get rid of partisan. We're going to have a constitutional republic. What that means is we're going to have the rule of law instead of the whims of men. The way we have it now, anybody who's elected just come and do whatever they want and play with the people. Instead, what we want is a constitution that clearly defines the role of government, the limitations of government, and clearly empowers the citizen, the individual. So we're going to shift the balance now of instead of having the queen as sovereign, we're going to have the people as sovereign. And the government will, for the first time, truly exist to serve the people and remain a servant of the people and never again a master of the people. There must be no more opportunities for a dictatorship to arise in Jamaica like we're seeing now. So we're going to stamp that out. So we're going to elect a president, elect 3 vice presidents, 1 for each county. We're going to elect 14 senators. Right now, the 21 senators are appointed. They're puppets. They're appointed by the leaders of political parties to do their bidding. We're going to get rid of that. So our 14 senators will now be elected by the people in each parish, the 14 of them, so they can really focus on the needs of their parish. Similarly, we're going to make sure that the MPs are no longer selected by parties or controlled by parties or funded by big business. We're going to have a 100% publicly funded system that will ensure that every candidate stands on their own and can be independent and represent the people that selected them in their communities. So a very new system that we have spent the time to develop over the last 10 years, actually, because I've been working at this for some time, and we're now at the place where we're ready to unleash this and launch this for the Jamaican people. We're now going to become a leader in the world on what good governance should look like.
Now, I know you probably don't want to reveal your strategies, but to the person who would say, all this is big talk, but it's not going to be easy to do. You may get in power, you may become the new government, but what makes you think it's going to be easy to remove the queen or remove the governor general and actually do all the things that you say you're going to do? What makes you think it's going to be easy? How would you respond to that person?
Well, it's not going to be easy. Nothing worth having is ever easy. If you want to get your first degree, you have to work like crazy for it. If you want to get your master's, you have to work. If you want to build a business, and I've built businesses, you have to really work at it. So I've been at this for 10 years. Many people would have given up already for the kind of work that has to go into build up a successful political party in Jamaica. I mean, I can't think of anything worse in terms of the it's like you trying to train. Let's say you're an animal trainer, right? And you're training, let's say a bear to perform in a circus, and you know that bear can bite off your hand any minute. So the very people you're working with can stab you in the back, stab you in the chest. They can destroy you. So it's a lot of work. So it's not going to be easy. But guess what? I am committed to the task, and those who are in the UIC are committed to the task. We're working on it, and guess what? as of today, we have our membership has more than quadrupled, and people are coming in. So we're going to find more qualified and competent Jamaicans to help us carry this through. And everybody is a part of the movement, from the guy who is in the ghetto, who is in the squatter community, who is in the garrison community, to the person living on the top of the hill in the big house. Every police and soldier, every nurse and teacher, every employee, every small business owner. The UIC is drawing on the entire human capital of Jamaica, and we together, we always say stronger together, we together are going to create a real new Jamaica. You know, everybody that wants that real new Jamaica will join the UIC and help us to create it.
A lot of Jamaicans still believe that spending the pound is what Jamaica needs, right? Because some Jamaicans feel like since we've gotten this so-called independence, and if you notice how I said it, so-called independence, right? Some Jamaicans look at it like Jamaica got worse as opposed to getting better. Would you say that actually doing away with the Queen, the Jamaican dollar will get stronger than it is? Because right now the Jamaican dollar is pretty poor, right? Mm-hmm. Would you say that if you get in office and you do away with the Queen, you do away with the Governor General, you make those kind of changes, how will that affect the current state of the Jamaican dollar right now?
One Jamaica TV. One Jamaica